we sent Samira Ahmed off to the flicks to give us her roundup of the political week.
Hollywood came to the Royal Courts of Justice this week, though if you believe some of the papers, it was a V for vendetta by disgruntled stars. However, there was plenty of discussion at Court 73 about brief encounters too. Both Steve Coogan and Hugh Grant were playing themselves, honest cads with complicated love lives. But when it came to the tabloids, they said they felt they were dancing with wolves.
You told me backstage you were going to bowl me straight balls.
Yes. Okay.
But if these are straight balls, I'd hate to see your googlies.
Hugh Grant threw in a plot twist when he accused the Mail on Sunday of hacking his phone for one story.
I cannot, for the life of me, think of any conceivable source for this story in the Mail on Sunday, except those voice messages on my mobile telephone.
The Mail on Sunday denied the claim, accusing Hugh Grant of mendacious smears. The following day, Steve Coogan's sombre testimony suggested almost mafia-like levels of blackmail by the News of the World. It left the Leveson lawyers silenced.
There was a girl in Andy Coulson's office who was going to speak to me on the phone. The phone call would be recorded, and she would try to entice me into talking about intimate details of her and my life. It's like the mafia, it's just business, you know.
Steve Coogan said the inquiry shouldn't be seen as the Steve and Hugh show. It was really about families like the Dowlers. Millie's parents showed remarkable calm and even support for the press, which made their experience all the more gut-wrenching.
I rang her phone.
Yes.
And it clicked through onto her voicemail, so I heard her voice.
Yes.
And it was just like I jumped. She's picked up her voicemails, Bob. She's alive.
And for the often demonised parents of Madeleine McCann, it was a chance to shine a light on what they have endured.
These were desperate times, you know. We were having to try and find our daughter ourselves, and we needed all the help we could get. And we were faced with, and I know we'll come on to headlines, but corpse in the car. I don't know how many times I read body fluids in the car, and it gets repeated that often. That becomes fact. There were no body fluids.
The darkness of the Leveson Inquiry took the spotlight off the economic crisis. But the economy does feel like we're trapped in one of those spaghetti westerns, held hostage by financial bandits. Where's a gunslinging action hero when you need one?
I'm glad to be back from Berlin. I left my bazooka behind, you'll be pleased to know.
And he told the CBI on Monday that things just aren't going according to plan.
We're trying to recover from a deep and difficult recession. Yet growth is slow, not just in Britain, but in France and Germany too. In the last quarter, we grew faster than many EU countries, faster than the average, but we are, frankly, well behind where we need to be. Yes, getting debt under control is proving harder than anyone envisaged.
Still, at least we can take comfort in seeing that old bromance back in action, Nick and Dave's Brookback Mountain partnership. In their field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. If you underwrite the mortgage for first-time buyers, of course.
Morning, nice to see you. Now, should we take our boots off? Take our boots off.
Cliff Richard once told British cinema goers young ones shouldn't be afraid. But Ed Miliband told PMQs on Wednesday they certainly should. He's been looking at the youth unemployment figures. Oh my God, they're huge.
However high youth unemployment goes, however bad it gets, it's a price worth paying to protect his failed plan. I tell him this, unless he changes course next week, 1 million young people will become the symbol of his failed economic plan and an out-of-touch Prime Minister.
Let me just remind him of actually something his brother said last week. He said very clearly, this government did not invent the problem of youth unemployment. I think we should have that sort of candour from this brother.
As several Labour MPs still secretly think, oh brother, where art thou? Now that other Ed Ball, said this week that he was a big softie for weepies, yet managed to choose a film that no one actually cries at, The Sound of Music, and Antiques Roadshow. But it's his recent branching out as a front-bench mime artist that's perhaps enough to make anyone weep.
Let me answer him directly on the issues of growth and debt, because this is absolutely key. He's at it again, I'm afraid. No wonder the Shadow Chancellor stopped saluting and started crying.
The real horror movie moment of the week, though, goes to Health Secretary Andrew Lansley, whose face now appears on a continuous loop at hospital bedside TVs, urging people to thank the staff looking after them.
I am passionate about improving the quality of care throughout the NHS.
Some of the most compelling images of the past week came from Egypt. Watching protesters back in Tahrir Square defy rubber bullets in the name of true democracy was a powerful challenge to our domestic obsessions, as reporters there made clear.
They thought they'd beaten the old regime back in February. Now they think they have to fight it all over again. This crisis has been brewing for months.
When the lights go up, it's back to reality in Britain. The autumn statement is next week. Will the government carry on regardless with no plan B? Certainly we're in the bus, teetering over the edge of an economic abyss. And unlike Michael Caine in The Italian Job, this government has no new great idea.